I wanted to talk today about the practice of Pratyahara. Pratyahara is an integral part of yoga and it means withdrawal of senses. Withdrawal of senses from everything that it is engaged with outside of us. So our sense organs, our eyes, our sense of sight, smell, taste, touch, these sense perceptions and the sense organs connect us with the world that is outside. What we see, what we hear, what we smell and taste, we react to these and we are engaged with the world around us through the means of these senses. We are constantly either reacting, forming judgments, or thinking and acting upon the stimuli that these senses receive. Now, what happens when we are constantly engaging through this awareness of the world outside is that it keeps us from being aware of the world inside. When our awareness and attention is engaged outside, it is impossible to become aware of what is happening inside. And when we turn the attention inwards, it's only then that we can become aware of this whole other world which exists inside us. Okay, when your attention is turned inwards, you become aware of the way that your mind works, the different movements and the functions that your body is steadily getting done, and your blood pumping or the air going in and out of your lungs. And then when this awareness becomes steady and you focus and pay attention for a little longer on what's happening inside, you start becoming aware of the subtler energy realm that exists inside us. Okay, you become aware of the nadis, the chakras, the different types of pranas, the vayus which are moving around inside the body. And the more you become aware of this realm, the more do you understand the workings of this, and you understand who you are, what you are. And this understanding is something which you can get only by practicing Pratyahara and turning the attention inwards. Now, Bhagavad Gita tells us that the yogi must be like a tortoise, and you know how the tortoise withdraws its limbs and its head inside the shell to protect itself. So the yogi who practices and masters the art of withdrawing his senses and keeping it turned inwards is well on the path to self-awareness and awakening. Now, Pratyahara also helps us to calm and soothe the nervous system, because the less stimuli that we have from outside, the less reactive we are. It helps us tap into our inner voice, listen to the inner voice and tap into our intuition, which is very strong if you can find the space to listen to it. Pratyahara helps us develop mental clarity and emotional resilience. It's sort of a bridge between external awareness and deep meditation. So if we wanted to practice Pratyahara today, it's quite challenging to practice it in today's day and age, because most of us are masters at multitasking. Okay, for example, you are going for a walk or you are running on the treadmill and you've got music playing in your ears, or maybe you're listening to a podcast, or you might be watching a show. Maybe you're in a movie hall watching a movie, and as your eyes are engaged, your ears are engaged, you're also eating and you're drinking, and maybe you're also at the same time checking your texts and scrolling on the phone. So you see how many ways our senses get engaged in one at the same time. Now the trouble with something like this is, if you want to practice Pratyahara, in this kind of a scenario, you're not even aware most of the times of which sense perception is engaged with the outer world. It gets really overwhelming and confusing. How do you know whether you are responding to what you're listening or what you're seeing? Which do you shut off? And the mind has gotten so used to being entertained and caught up in so many things outside, and it's mesmerized by this world of, variety, that it finds it sort of boring and challenging to withdraw attention from all of these, especially because it's not practiced doing that. To withdraw attention and turn it inwards becomes a big challenge for the mind. Now, if you did want to practice Pratyahara, for someone who is new to the practice, I wouldn't recommend that they do it in one sweeping move, and they just decide that, okay, I'm going to sit with my eyes closed, I'm going to put cotton in my ear, I'm going to put a blinker around my eyes, and I'm just going to force and sit down. Because when you do that, what you're doing is you are setting yourself up for failure. Most of us would fail when we force ourselves to sit, focus, concentrate, and meditate. Now, instead of that, what should be done is to train the mind in slow and easy stages. Be firm with it, but continuously train and build on your strengths. One of the ways that you can do this is to decide to commit to one activity, or engaging with one sense perception at a given point of time. Now, you could say, for example, you could choose to listen to a beautiful piece of music. Make it an instrumental music if possible, because when the words start coming in, then the mind starts playing with the words, getting into the stories and the narratives, and it gets drawn off into a wave of thoughts and narratives and stories. But with instrumental music, it's tougher to do that, right? So listen to something, listen to a piece of beautiful instrumental music, and put off your phone. Keep your eyes either closed or gaze upon something which is soothing and calming. Maybe gaze upon some trees, or maybe look upon a beautiful painting of a yantra or a mandala or a deity, or even your guru if you have one like that. Or it could be just a beautiful landscape, something that doesn't cause too much of an emotional response in you, but at the same time keeps your mind calm and engaged with the music. Turn off your phone, keep it aside, listen to the music. Or you could choose to read a book. Okay, pick up a book. No phones again, no music to listen to in the background, no talking to anybody else. Sit in one place and decide that you're going to read for a specific length of time. Maybe you decide that I'm going to read for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes or half an hour. Or you decide that I'm going to finish reading this one chapter, and as you're reading it, practice being completely present with the reading. Okay, don't go off into mental rambles. Books can do that to you. Books can make you think and go off into different tangents. But this particular exercise look upon it as a challenge and as a promise that you make to yourself. Decide to commit to the act of reading in order to train your senses to be engaged and committed to one activity at a time. This is one way you could do. Or another way that you could practice Pratyahara is you engage each of your senses in the pursuit of one activity. For example, if you choose to garden, let's say you have a lot of plants and you have a beautiful outdoor space, and you go and you're digging, and as you're digging and moving the earth and you're feeling the plants, let your hands be aware of the textures that you're experiencing, without judgment, without any kind of premeditated ideas. Just be aware of connecting with earth. Smell the fragrances that arise as you move the earth, the smell of the flowers or the leaves or the air around you. Listen to the rustling of the leaves, listen to the movement, the sound that earth makes as it moves, or maybe there are some crickets chirping around you. Listen to that and see if you have a hint of a flavor which comes up inside your mouth as you're gardening. So while you're gardening, you decide, I'm going to only garden. I'm going to engage each and every one of my senses in the pursuit of this activity, and commit to that. Don't listen to a podcast. Don't listen to the story time, or don't listen to music. Don't listen to anything, the news or anything that could take you away from committing the 100% of your awareness into that particular activity. Now, when you do these kind of practices, you are training your mind and you're training your senses and how they interact with the world. You are taking charge of how you respond and react and engage with the world. Once you start getting a hang of this, once you start becoming better at having more control over how your senses are engaging, then you can go to the next step of sitting and actually withdrawing the senses and turning them inwards. Now, another practice which I really love to do in order to practice in order to practice Pratyahara is make yantra paintings or construct yantras. So what I do is I will light a beautiful incense, something that will create an atmosphere, a fragrance which is maybe a sandalwood or rose, or something which is refreshing like a lemongrass, something which mirrors the energy of the deity that I am attempting to invoke through the yantra. I normally prefer to create my yantras in perfect silence, but there might be days when my mind is very active or very chatty, and at those times I will play music which will again tune me into the mood of the yantra. So chants which are slow, melodic, maybe that I can time with the rhythm of my breath or with the rhythm of my strokes, and I become aware of what I'm listening to, but it is also engaged with what I'm making. My eyes are anyways engaged, my hands are anyways engaged, and I don't speak. I hold my mouth silent, or if at all I feel the urge that I wish to exercise this particular sense, then I might just chant the mantra. I might chant it inside like a whisper or chant it out louder so that I can hear it, and it adds to the atmosphere that I am creating around that yantra. So yantra painting and yantra drawing is a beautiful way to again practice Pratyahara. Now what happens is, as I am drawing and as I am constructing the yantra, my mind is thinking or focused on the drawing and the construction and the analytical part of it. Some of my senses are listening to me or to some melodic hum that is around to give support to this practice, or maybe I'm just listening to the rhythm of my breath. And as I'm contemplating the divine, I'm also contemplating about the qualities of the divine which I would like to maybe embody or manifest in my own life. Okay, so it might take me into small spaces of revelations where I get aha moments, because in that silence my inner voice gets a chance to speak. The deity or the divine energy is audible, and I can hear the intuitive guidance that I'm receiving through that practice. So I really recommend Pratyahara as a practice for anybody who is desirous of knowing themselves better, who values self-awareness, self-realization, who's committed to becoming self-aware, or anybody who wants to understand the subtle energy network that is working along inside our body. If you want to become aware of that, then practice Pratyahara and commit to the practice. Make small promises to yourself. Don't try to jump and do too much in a go. Start with something small. Tell yourself that you're going to do something for maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes every day or every week, and come back to it regularly, because the more you practice, even if it is for shorter duration, the more it becomes ingrained within you to slip into that state of disengaging with the external world and turn inwards. And trust me, there is a miraculously amazing world waiting for you inside. Just try to practice it and turn inwards. I hope you have a wonderful day.